Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. It's time again for my favorite hour of the week, another edition of the Weekly Member Spotlight. And I am more excited than usual, I will admit, because I am here this morning with one of our Village Green managers, Parissa Riggs, one of my favorite people in the entire world. And I'm so excited to sit down and talk to her today. What I love so much about this is no matter how much I think I know people, when we sit down and talk during the spotlight, I literally leave the conversation knowing 10 things I never knew and probably would have never known had not we sat down like this. So good morning and welcome, Parissa.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
I appreciate it so much. I reached out to Parissa a while back when we were putting together the schedule and she jumped at the opportunity. So thank you again. Before we dive into the spotlight, though, I wanted to make mention of a couple of events coming up. We have an action packed agenda for 2021. And while the beginning of the year, we're still going to see a lot of virtual events, we do have planned for later in the year. So super excited about that. But in the meantime, the next upcoming event is Thursday, January 28th. The Next Gen Committee is putting on an event, and Mr. Don Bruner, our president of the board of directors for the GCNKAA, is the guest speaker. And you're not going to want to miss this. Don's going to share some stories about his experience in the industry. And we welcome anyone, whether you're part of the Next Gen group or not, join that discussion and reach out to Kaylee at the GCNKAA to get registered. Then we have my very favorite Dave Locker joining us on February 9th, CRE State of the Industry annual address. I don't even know how many of these I've attended in my career, but it is truly my favorite event of the year for the association. So another virtual event. Maybe next year we'll get to see Dave live and in person, but this year virtual. So sign up for that. You've already received emails and you can reach out to the association for any questions. And then last but not least, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. So you're going to have to wear green, my favorite color. It's our virtual business exchange event. So we are planning that. You're going to get an email from me today if you're a primary member who will participate, and then be on the lookout for the associate member invitation coming very soon. We're looking forward to that event. Have had a couple of meetings this week about it and done a pseudo dry run, and it's going very well. So be on the lookout and be ready for that next virtual exchange event. All right, Parissa, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Well, I could give you a very good introduction because I know you so well, but I'm pretty sure people want to hear you talk. Can I invite you just to take a moment, introduce yourself, tell us about who you are, what you do, and how long you've been in the apartment industry?
All right. So I'm Parissa Riggs. I am a property manager for Village Green going on 13 years in March.
Wow.
Industry for a little over 15 years. So I was with another company, stumbled on it by accident, and I was there for 2 years until the property sold. Came on board with Village Green as an assistant manager and kind of just worked my way up. And this property is my 6th promotion in that almost 13-year period. It'll be 13 years, March 27th.
I just noticed that you have the Arbor's map behind you, and what a brilliant backdrop. I hope we share this with our owner, who will love this kind of interview if he's not watching right now. But I would like to take a moment and ask you, just share what's going on at the Arbors and what you've been part of in the project at that property. I think the Arbors is a very familiar property, but you've got some exciting stuff going on there.
Yeah, so like I said, I started here 13 years ago as the assistant manager, and things have drastically changed. It's incredible. So it's a huge asset. It's 438 apartments, and we're undergoing a major interior renovation. Hopefully the exteriors will be done in the next year or two, but right now the interiors, and for the first time since I've been here, we're leased at 99.3%. Which is extremely not only unheard of, not only difficult, but unheard of in this large of an asset, because there's just always so much going on and so much movement. We have a large staff of 10, 5 office, 5 on our service side. So there's just, constant move-ins, constant move-outs, transfers. So to be that highly occupied, cheers to the team and, our company and our awesome residents and just going with the flow. It's been a lot, but it's been very rewarding and fun. It's great to see the finished product.
It really is. And it's so great when you have a great ownership partner too. I mean, we have the best people, hands down.
Hands down.
Say that knowing that I am biased, but I would put our people up literally to anyone. and of course our residents, but having a great partner like your owner really makes things.
Yes, I could not ask for a better owner. I've worked for several owners, and this one's just, he's the cherry on top. He's incredible.
Yeah, it's like that, third solid leg of the stool. I love that. This is not on the questionnaire, but I would just love to hear in your, authentic words, like, why do you love this industry so much? Because you would have to devote, half of your life to doing this and all of your career, I'm sure your adult career in doing this. What do you love so much about being a property manager?
There's so much. I love that it's never the same thing. And I'm sure that's repetitive. I'm sure everybody answers the same. I am analytical. I'm not a salesperson. I'll be the first person to say that I'm not a salesperson. I love the operations aspect of it. I'm not a fan of writing a budget, but at the same time, I love getting in there and just doing the budget and plugging in numbers and seeing how it all, I think I got that from Kelly, unfortunately. I think I got that from Kelly, but I do. I love the number, the analytics, the operations aspect of it, and I love that you're always working with different people. I also pride myself on training and teaching people new things. So I love, having large staff and training people and seeing them move on to bigger and better things and getting them promoted and being a mentor in like our MIT program and different programs like that. So there's just a lot to love.
There really is. I echo all of that. So, what did you want to be when you grew up, and how did you kind of stumble into? I think that could be our survey. How did you stumble into this business?
So funny story. I actually went to school for political science and criminal justice. I wanted to be a forensic scientist.
Ooh.
Long story short, in order to be forensics or do investigative work back then with Cincinnati, I wanted to be part of the Cincinnati Police Department. You have to do 2 years of street beat, 2 years of being a normal cop. I ended up having some health issues back then, and I scored in the 95th percentile of the written test for the Cincinnati Police Department out of like 3,000 people, but I failed the physical with like flying colors.
Yeah.
I was in shape back then. It was before I was married, but I had some health issues. And so I ended up going to finance because, again, I love the money, I love operations. So I ended up, when I was in college and going to school, I started working for Fifth Third and then transferred to PNC. And then when my husband and I, about a year or two after we were married, my husband's from a small town called Adams County. It's a small county, but he's from West Union. So we moved out there. We didn't have any kids and nothing holding us back. We moved out there, got a little taste of the country life, worked for a local bank, stayed there for a couple of years, and then found out I was pregnant with our first daughter. And I looked at Brian, my husband, and I said, we're going back to the city. I need to be close to civilization. So we moved back down here, bought our first house. But by that time I was showing, and it's hard to get, a job when you're pregnant. So I went to a agency, and it was in April of 2006. And the first job that they gave me was a 1-week assignment at an apartment community in Hyde Park, Oakley area, which is funny because that property's name was Brookstone, which is one of our properties.
Oh, that is funny.
Brookstone that we have another Brookstone. So it's just small world, but I worked at a property out there. It was a 1-week assignment answering the phones. 1 week turned into 2 turned into 3. They started asking if I could take some tours. Long story short, went on maternity leave. They called me, offered me a full-time position to come back as a sales consultant. So in September of 2006, I went back as a sales consultant, totally stumbled in this industry by accident. Then in 2007, they announced the sale of the property. The property manager at the time left. So I was promoted and was in charge of getting the property through the sale. So once it's sold, it closed on Valentine's Day of 2008.
Oh,
and
wow.
In March of 2008. And the rest is history. I've been here ever since.
Who hired you at Village Green? Do you remember?
Yeah, so Christy Fickard actually called me for sales. And I was like, I just finished the sale. I was a property manager. Gonna be honest, I'm not good with sales. So she's like, okay, I think we'll have someone call you. So then Lori called me and I came to Arbors and interviewed. Lori interviewed me and hired me as assistant manager.
I love that. I never knew that that's how the beginning started. Well, thank you. Well,
totally by accident.
Right. Having been in this industry for so long, I'm sure it's very difficult to narrow this question down, but share one of your most memorable property management stories.
Oh, I can't. Like
I
there's
know,
just,
right?
I would have to say my most memorable experiences, though, I can't think of just one story. I think the most memorable experience, though, of this industry is being at Village Green. Obviously, like you said, it's been my adult life. It's just, I think it's the people that I've met. And almost every story that I have that has been rewarding and fulfilling and very sentimental and memorable would be like the philanthropic, things that we've done as a company. But just, I think meeting the people, some of my Heather Welge, best friends, you know, just the people that it puts in your life. Clay Nickel, we met through here, but we're friends outside of the aspect. There's just so many vendors and so many people that have come in my life, and I don't think people really realize that when you work with people, you spend more time with them than you do your family.
Mm-hmm.
I've just met some really, really great people that will just always be in my life and are, I bought Heather for Christmas. One of her Christmas present was sisters by choice, I'm an only child. So meeting her and she's just that person that I've been missing, So I just think that I have so many memories, but it all has to do with the people that I've met along the way.
Well said. That gives me the chills. And, makes you think about, I think I challenge everyone, think about how the most important people in your life outside of your immediate family, I can say for sure,
Hands down.
the top people it's been in this industry. So that's very, very true. And it's crazy how close you get to people in this industry. You can't help but to not get close to people when you're dealing with where they live, right?
Exactly.
I love that. Well, what
Yeah.
advice would you offer up to people who are new in the industry or just getting started in their career?
Patience. Our industry is ever evolving, and I don't think anything, we've always known that if you're in this industry, you've always known that this industry is constantly changing, it's ever evolving. But this past year with COVID, we really had to just switch the way we did day-to-day business. Day-to-day business as we knew it was gone out the window, closing doors, but still expected to get rentals and having to switch to videos and it's ever evolving. And I would say patience. It's a very, very rewarding career. I would definitely suggest it to anybody. It's rewarding, it's fulfilling. It's not easy, I don't think. I wouldn't say it's for the faint of heart. You definitely have to be strong, especially I think as a manager, because everything gets escalated to you, and it's hard to not take things personally. That would be my advice, is you got to let it roll. What one person's believe, they don't speak for 10 people, so you get those negative reviews, so you get the one angry person that doesn't make up for the other 400 plus residents that live there. So I would just say you need to be willing to evolve. You need to be willing to learn more, because 13 years and I'm still learning stuff. Don't take things personal, and just realize that if you've been someplace for that long, you must be doing something right. So don't let the negative things kind of beat you down.
Very sage advice and spoken like an absolute pro. Well said. Let's shift gears now. I'd love to ask you a little bit about your family. I've heard you make mention of your family, but tell us a little more in detail about your beautiful family.
Yeah, so I've been married to my husband, Brian, for almost 19 years. We got married in 2002 in June. Fun fact, I was only 20 when we got married, so I couldn't even drink at my wedding. But here we are, I'm pushing 40. I'll be 40 in July, and we're still going strong. We have, I say, 2.5 daughters. We have 2 beautiful daughters. I have Madeline, who's 14 and a half, almost 15, and Emery, who just turned 11 last week. And then we have a bonus daughter, Lily. She's actually my daughter's best friend that kind of just had a little rough go of it. And so we kind of took her under our wing, and she came into our life December 27th of last year and hasn't left. So
Listen, I didn't really
very
know the
blessed.
story. I didn't
Yes.
really know the story of
Yeah.
how she came to you, but I follow you on social media. You're one of my favorite people on social media. And so I think that's just incredible hearing a little more color
Yeah.
that happened. And you're always doing something with your family. What are some of your hobbies and adventures?
Um, we haven't really done too much this year just because of health and COVID and
Right.
stuff. We love to travel. We love to have people over. I mean, our house is kind of like the party house. We have a pool, we have a fire pit. My kids just always have people over, and
Right.
I'm all about family. I'm all about family. So, and my girls and I now, especially with us having 3 girls, we do a lot of shopping. Brian's outnumbered. We have 2 dogs. One's a male. So Brian and the dog are the only males. The rest of us are female. So he's a little
That's
outnumbered.
funny.
We
So
love
every
this.
day is girls' day.
Yeah, every day. Yeah.
That's funny. Well, I was going to ask you about your pets. Tell us about your 2 dogs.
Yeah, I have 2 dogs. I have Brutus, who's he's a pit bull lab mix. He's about 80 pounds. And then I have Ruby. She's like this little tiny pound Chihuahua weenie. She's just evil. But I'm a huge dog person. We love to rescue. Every dog that I've ever had has been a rescue. At one point we had 3 dogs, a bunny and a frog.
Wow.
So,
Sounds like my house,
yeah.
Parissa.
Yeah, so right now we're down to 2 dogs. Emery was incredibly disappointed that she didn't get a new dog for her birthday last week.
No.
Too much, but yes, I'm a huge animal person, love every kind of animal. So if we can rescue it, we will.
I love that, and it's funny. I have this very sneaky suspicion that my house is going to be. I mean, it kind of already is the central place, even in the neighborhood. I'm like, I feel like I've already become that mom.
Yep.
Everything, which I'm kind of cool with, because then I don't have to worry about what's going on when I'm not around and
Exactly.
all those things. But I have a feeling I'm gonna be calling you for some advice. Well, when you could take vacations, what's one of your favorite vacations that you've taken, with the family or without?
Yeah, so I mean, we've been to the Bahamas, we've been to Hawaii, we've been to Florida, we've been to Gulf Shores, but I would say my favorite vacation is Hilton Head. I started going there in the 80s. My family, we've always gone there, even before Hilton Head kind of blew up and became the official vacation hotspot for Ohioans for whatever.
Right.
But I grew up going there every year. My parents, my grandparents, my aunt, uncle, all my cousins, and have the best, fondest memories. And then I'm married with kids. It is incredible that I get to share in that. So I would think out of any vacation that I've ever been on, Hilton Head is the best because it truly is family time. I take 2 weeks off every July, and the whole family goes down there. It's my aunt, uncle, my 3 cousins, myself, my husband, and our girls. And it's just, there's no agenda. No, you wake up, do whatever you want. We always celebrate. So my birthday's in July, and my oldest daughter Madeline's birthday's in July. So we just go down there and we'll make dinner reservations and check out the different, restaurants and stuff. But there's one restaurant every Wednesday that we're down there, my cousins and I do an all-you-can-eat crab night. It like for the whole day. We put stretchy pants on, like it's a marathon. And so
that's hilarious.
Year we try to outdo what we did the year before.
Oh my gosh.
Year, or I guess 3 years ago, in 2018, we each had like 46 crab legs each. So like, wow.
Hilarious.
So then in 2019, we upped it and we each had 51. We didn't get to go in 2020. So we're looking forward to see what we can do this year. But it's just
that's hilarious. And that's one of the things that I didn't know about you. I didn't know you had that. I mean, how would I know that about you? But I think that's like, talk about like tradition and.
Yeah, I'm an only child. I don't have any brothers or sisters. So I was raised in a very close-knit family, and my cousins and I are extremely close. So growing up in Hilton Head with my cousins, and like my cousin Allison, she has 2 young kids. So now that the cousins are older and now we have kids, and it's just a beautiful tradition that the
Uh-huh.
family do, and it's just great to see the kids grow up down there. It's awesome.
I love that. All right. Well, this is the moment I've been waiting for to talk to you about my favorite subject, my favorite question. And that's, I'm going to ask you about your favorite books. And I know your hobby of, and your passion for reading. You might be the only other person that's as big of a book nerd as I am.
Yes,
And way more of a book nerd than I am. But tell me
probably.
one of the best books that you've read, and then maybe share a little bit about your side hustle.
Yeah, so my side hustle. So I do. I'm a total book nerd. I do not watch TV very rarely. I don't want to say I don't, but very rarely do I watch TV. And it's crazy because I hated reading. Getting through school, I'm not even gonna lie, I read Cliff Notes. Like I could not stand. I had an attention span of a fly. I could not read books at all. My parents, for my birthday in 2011, bought me my first Kindle. And I was like, what am I going to do with this? It's an e-reader. So my aunt, who is also a big reader, we share this in common. She was like, okay, here's the first book you want to read. Download it to your Kindle, create an Amazon account. So I read this first series, and then it just kind of snowballed. And it's Goodreads is a book paradise for avid readers. You can go on there, you can blog about books, you can review books, you can follow your favorite authors, and then they send you what they call ARCs, advanced read copies, where you get the book before anybody else does. So Goodreads can connect to your Amazon, your Kindle account. So every time you finish a book, it'll check mark it in Goodreads. So since October of 2011, I've read over 2,200 books.
Wow.
Yes, I
That's
have
insane.
about 245 books a year is my average. So I can typically read a book in a day. Now I cheat because my Kindle has text to speech, so I listen to my. So if I'm in the shower, if I'm driving, I hook it up to Bluetooth, and just
That's not cheating. That is being efficient with your time.
It's being efficient with my time. In bed every night, I put an earbud in and listen to my book while I catch up on, the goings on in the world and stuff like that. But yes, I'm a book nerd and love to read.
Well, I was telling you, I was super excited to tell you I'm reading this book, and I'm almost positive April Bandlow is where I heard of this. I feel like I'm positive. She had posted a picture on social media or something, and it had the title of the book. And I was like, okay, I've seen that. I need to read it. It's called The Huntress.
Okay.
It's incredible. And I'm starting to grieve because I'm within the last 2 hours of the book. I listened to it on Audible as well. And I'm like, I know I'm going to mourn when this book is over that I don't have it to look, forward to.
Yeah.
But it's really good. It's a period piece, and it's set in the 1945 to 1950 range, and it's about this woman who is just I'm going to stop there because I trust that you will at least look at reading it, but it's absolutely incredible. And through this initiative, I've talked to so many people who are so passionate about reading, and whatever the genre is, there are plenty of people who read for just mindless entertainment and fun, where other people would watch TV or watch sports or whatnot. This reading is it. So whatever you're into with reading, but then also people who read business books and whatnot, and it's just I have a list miles long, and I am nowhere near as dedicated to it. I've not read 245 books in the last several years, but it's so, when I find something, it gets to me, and it's fitting to me. So I was so excited to tell you. Do you have a favorite book of all time that you're this is, if you had to narrow it down?
So the genre that I read is romance. I'm a huge romance reader. I would say, 50 Shades is up there, but there's a zillion better books. I think anything by Sylvia Day, or Kay Bromberg. She had a really great Driven series that was just incredibly emotional and steamy and just had everything. It just had every aspect. And my aunt loves Aletha Romig, and she's dark, but it's those ones, like you said, like you're kind of grieving because you know the book's almost over. We call those book hangovers. It's like when you finish a book and you're like, I don't even know what to read now because what to compare? I can't. There's nothing else that I can do.
I can't jump right into another. I'm like, I have to feel this and get over it before I can get emotionally attached to something.
Yeah. It definitely it leaves crazy book hangovers. My biggest pet peeve is when I read a book without knowing that it's a continuance. I wait until an entire series is out to read, but sometimes I don't get that memo and I'll read a book and it ends in a cliffhanger and I'm like, oh gosh, this is just the worst forever. I have to wait until next year. So I've learned to pay a little bit more attention to detail there. But
have you ever thought about writing?
No. No, because I think if I did it as a job, it would take the enjoyment out of it. I really, really enjoy it. I use it as a getaway. I don't think it's any secret that I've had several health issues, and getting me through hospital stays and therapies and treatments, these books have been my gateway. And I think I would love to maybe try it, but I think there's too much pressure. Like I enjoy what I do. And I think if I started to write, I think it would take the enjoyment out of it. If I wrote, I wouldn't read and it wouldn't be my gateway.
I love that you know that about yourself and are confident in saying that. And that's, it's absolutely true. I'm sure if it became a job or you had to spend your time writing versus reading, then you would lose the joy of
exactly
the new books and the new characters and all of that.
Exactly.
So much. You do, in a sense, by blogging and reviewing like that. I mean, that is a very creative outlet too. And I also don't think it's any big secret that you are, I would say, an opinionated person, and you're not afraid to say exactly what you think when you think it in no uncertain terms. And you gotta love that about people, right? Like, I want to know.
You either like it or
hate it. Like, you have to appreciate it, right? Like, start a book and I don't know it's a continuance. Like, I want people to know how a conversation is going to go with me too, and I want to know how a conversation is going to go.
Sure.
With you. Are you going to have to decipher what they're trying to say, or are they going to say what they?
Exactly.
I like that about you, and your answer about interest in writing really nailed that on the head.
Yeah, I'm honest. I'm just brutally honest. I say it how it is. So yeah,
honest, opinionated, direct. Been called so many things, right?
Yes.
I love it. Have you gotten on the podcast train at all?
I haven't. No, my husband does, but I haven't. I don't listen to anything. Yeah, if I'm going to listen to something, it's going to be a book.
You know what? I think there are a lot of people who are, both, but I also, in my experience thus far, you're very much one or the other. So
yeah.
Interesting. All right, well, let's move on because we could talk about that all day. And I know we both have a job today, right?
Yeah.
So thank you again, Parissa. What's one of your favorite foods or restaurants?
Oh, I think my favorite food hands down is Indian. I'm Middle Eastern, I'm Iranian, so that breaks my dad. Like, as soon as I just said that, I can literally hear my dad's heart breaking in the background. He's Iranian, so I should love Persian foods and Middle Eastern. Right. I do, but Indian food is where it's at. So
do you have a favorite restaurant, or where would you recommend someone who isn't an Indian food?
There's all kinds. There's a place over in Hyde Park. I can't remember the names because they all start with A's. They're all. There's also one in Clifton, but we have a Nod India right here in Beachmont. Nick and Lauren go there. It's just a hole in the wall place, but they have the best food.
Oh, cool.
Best. There was a little one off of Montgomery Road behind Camargo Cadillac called it was called Tandoor Indian. I don't know if it's still there, but I raised on that. I started going as a kid and ate there over the years. I don't even know if it's still there, but that was my first introduction. So Tandoor behind Camargo Cadillac off of Montgomery Road is kind of where my love for Indian food started 35 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good. And I love hearing that because I wouldn't know where to go if I was going to seek out Indian food, which I like, but I'm not I'm not a risk taker, especially when it comes to food.
Really?
I feel like I need to give it another
I'm
chance.
I'm a huge risk taker because I'm
Yeah,
Catholic, so I have to be like
yeah,
that's how I teach my kids. I'm like, you can't bash it until you try it. If you try it and hate it, that's fine, but you have to try it.
right. Well,
So, yeah.
very good advice. I know you said you don't watch much TV, but do you have a favorite TV show or a go-to if you're gonna sit down and watch?
Friends, Friends, not no question about it. Friends, I've seen every episode 18 times. I own all the movies, I own the games, I own Friends cards, Friends trivia. Just, I feel like every single solitary experience that happens in life can be related back to a Friends episode. Hands
That's hilarious.
Jared Daniel, if he watches this, he's going to roll his eyes because he thinks that is the worst show that was ever made. And we would always fight about it. But Friends, hands down, favorite show.
Can I just say, if Derek Daniels doesn't watch this interview from start to finish,
You know,
we're gonna have a call,
we're gonna have problems.
right? Well, what about sports? Are you a sports fan?
Huge. College football. I
Yeah.
love football. Football is a big one. Ohio State. We bleed scarlet and gray in my house. Sorry, Michigan people. But but yeah, Ohio State is huge. I went to UC, but Ohio State is.
It's rough in this company. Our corporate mothership is in Michigan, so those could be fighting words if you're in the wrong audience. There's
You
a
know,
funny banter that goes back and forth between some of our Columbus people and Michigan people. Although I think a lot of Village Green people are Michigan State versus University of Michigan.
true, true.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
brave for speaking of that. Well, what is one of the best concerts that you've ever been to? Remember concerts? Remember what that
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I could go for a $21 glass of wine right now. Yes, I miss the overpriced. I love live music. Concerts are
Yeah.
one of my favorite things. I would have to say, I mean, I've been to over 100 concerts. I
Oh
would
wow.
have to say, and this is going to be kind of take it with a grain of salt because he's not my favorite artist, but I would say Ed Sheeran, I think was the best concert that I've ever been to because it was so unique. He doesn't come out with all the pomp and circumstance. He comes out just himself and his guitar.
Yeah.
No bands, no nothing. It's just very talented. He is a true, I think, storyteller, which is
Mhm.
I look for when I go to a concert. I like smaller known artists, but for him being as big as he is, he's just super down to earth and just came out and didn't have like this big glitz and glamour and introduction. Just the lights come on or go down and he just walks on stage. He's like, hey guys, how's it going? And all of his music is, he records himself on the drums, he records himself on the piano, and then he plays like these pedals. So when he's playing his guitar, he does the footwork with the pedals that brings in the piano or the drums. It was so unique. But my favorite artist, I think, is Amos Lee. I've seen him in concert 5 times. My aunt and I think that's why we are so close. I have the best relationship with my aunt, and she's a reader like me and loves live music. So we go to concerts together back when we could go to concerts.
Right.
She was kind of like my music partner. So
Oh, that's fun. I love that. And I love too the just authenticity of those kinds of performances. I've never seen like a large concert like that, but just reminds me of like an intimate, being somewhere in a, dive bar in Nashville.
yeah.
All right. Well, listen, a couple more questions, and I know we got a busy Friday on the horizon, and I'll let you get back to your real life. But again, thank you. This is so fun. I love doing this. So a couple more questions. If you could be any animal, what would you be and why?
All right, it's gonna sound weird. An eagle. Eagles are known for their strength and agility, and I've been through a lot of stuff. That's no secret, and I think I have portrayed myself to be strong, and I try to teach my girls that. So eagles are known for strength and agility, and they're also known for their focus. There could be a ton of stuff going around on them, but they zero in on one thing. Most of the time it's their prey, but whatever is going on around me, I can focus. I have laser determination and focus and strength, and yeah. So I would say an eagle.
I like that. And I like the reason, the why, as much as I like the answer. So thank you for that. And certainly not, I think we might have had eagle as an answer, but for a much different reason. So I love that.
Gotcha.
All right. Well, share a random fun fact about yourself.
A random fun fact.
Another very exciting moment I've been waiting for.
So what a lot of people don't know is I am an ordained minister. I actually became ordained back in June of 2015 when they legalized same-sex marriage. So I became ordained. I've done 11 weddings, getting ready to do my 12th with Lauren and Nick. I ordained weddings. So that's super exciting. Yeah. So that's a big fun fact. I also just this weekend received my certification in wedding planning. And at the same time that I received that certification, I enrolled in the New York Institute of Art and Design for event planning. So I'm going to ordained minister, wedding planner, event, like you're all in one, girl. And
is your business going to be called Call Me? Call P.
Yeah, call P.
I got you. Tell me what you need. I got it.
Yeah, call P. So it's just planning. I love planning parties. I love planning events. I always go overboard on decorations, and everybody's always said, you should do this, you should do this. Or people will come to me and be like, hey, I'm planning a wedding. What do you think about these? Or do you think I should do this? And they're like, you should do this for fun. So
I know.
Do it for fun on the side. And
well, listen, I feel like we at Village Green and your residents at the Arbors of Anderson and every other property that you've touched along the way have the very appreciated benefit of that talent and passion of yours. Just to brag on you for a second, because I think you probably would be humble, Parissa is kind of the, I don't know, liaison in our region for Splash Day and the harvest. She works very closely with our corporate level. It's the VG Cares really initiative and all of the things that we do to kind of give back. And I mean, practically every year you and your team and or your neck of the woods is competing against each other to win the harvest contest where we collect food, and your Splash Day event is always off the charts. Even this year, there's a funny video floating out there. I got challenged at the Arbors, and Parissa held me to it. And so she's always just like putting together these events, the pool parties, I mean, you did something during COVID with a holiday thing where you had food trucks and Santa, and it was very well planned because of COVID. And so it is very evident, and I am forever grateful that we get we get to be the beneficiaries of your talent there. So thank you. While we're talking about you, Parissa, I wanted to just make mention of, is there any special professional designations or awards you've gotten throughout your career that have just really been impactful that you want to share?
With Village Green, I've received several Best of the Best awards or Excellence in the Green now. And I have received awards for my philanthropic endeavors, I guess. For Splash Day, I've received Holiday Harvest Awards, and Splash Day for getting the highest Splash Day contribution for our region and such, so forth. So yeah, there's been quite a few accolades across the way. And
as many, I think, as you've received individually, your teams and your property performance along the way at the varying properties has as well. So kudos to you for all of that. And again, thank you. I feel extremely grateful to be the beneficiary of your talent and your passion for what you do and who you are.
Thank you.
So the last question, and I always like to end our interviews like this: how do you think the people who have worked with you along your very storied career would describe you as a leader?
So I actually asked my team this question because I have a really hard time describing myself. So I like to hear from other people. They all kind of said that I'm fun, which I guess is good, but I don't know that that's what I want to be known for. But like Nick's, he was like, you're fun, but you like to get stuff done. We ensure that we do our jobs and we do our jobs right, but we have fun while we're doing it. Another one said that I'm alpha female. Again, not sure that that's a good thing, but it is what it is. And then Steve, my assistant manager, he's like, he was just promoted recently into his new position. He's like, you're an excellent coach. Like, you are so patient, and I let people take notes. And I'm like, I always say, hey, because people are always like, oh, I'm sorry, I got to take notes. I'm like, hey, I've been there. Take your time. I want you to do it right. I want you to learn it. And he said I was super patient. So I guess I'm going to go with what they said: patient, alpha female, fun, but gets our work done.
I love it. Listen, I agree with all of those things. And I would add to that, I think one of the things I appreciate about you the most, I already said, like, I appreciate the directness. And I've been accused of being some of those things myself. Not fun, but just kidding. At the end of the day, someone has to get it done, right? And leader, you know when to have fun, you know when to get stuff done. And I think people know exactly who you are. And that is a very important thing. When you don't know who you're dealing with on any level in life, it just makes things unnecessarily complicated. So I love, most importantly, you know who you are, and you are who you are. I also love how articulate that you are and how passionate about whatever it is. I mean, I've had the privilege of watching you from my vantage point be the leader of several teams, several very different properties under several very different ownership groups. And just like everyone else in this business, there have been good days and bad days and highs and lows. Every swing of the pendulum brings something new. And look at you today. You are here, and you are a performer. What have you touched that has not performed, right?
Yeah.
So, I wanted to say my perspective of.
Oh, thank you.
And it's not often that I get a chance to sit down with people I know so well. And I'm just super proud to know you and be part of that you are on. So thank you again.
Thank you.
Very, very confident in saying a top 10 favorite interview for me. So,
thanks.
Yes, I appreciate your time. Is there any parting words that you want to say before we get back to our Fridays?
Not at all. Just thank you for being you. And I've been blessed with great leadership in my 13 years. You, Lori, Mary is just everything to me. Mary and I had a heart-to-heart yesterday, and I'm like, I just think the world of her. And I've just been so blessed with just great mentors, coaches, and leaders. And I am very proud to be a VGer for life.
Every one of those people you just named are also Sun Alpha leaders who get things done with patience and whatnot. So look at what a great team you're a part of.
Yes, I'm blessed.
Well, thank you. Listen, have a fabulous weekend. Thank you so much. I appreciate you, and I look forward to seeing you in person again very soon.
For sure. Thank you.
Parissa. Bye, everyone. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.